Brittle Hollow is, without a doubt, my favourite planet in Outer Wilds. It is conceptually crazy. I mean, where else can you see a planet created around a black hole?
Here we go!
Okay, let's ignore the moustache man. Where else can you walk upside down on the inside of a planet's crust and then look up and see a black hole beneath you? Or is that above you? It hurts my head. And for Mobius Digital, the developers of Outer Wilds, to do so with what is essentially a physics engine that got out of hand is even more impressive. Quick note before I get started that there are heavy spoilers for Outer Wilds in this video, so if you haven't completed your journey yet, come back later. For everyone else, to hammer home the brilliant physics of Outer Wilds even more, let me tell you the first of 10 things you didn't know about Brittle Hollow. If you go towards the centre of the planet, you'll find the gravitational force is lower as you get close to the core. You see this at the Zero G cave on Timber Half, plus you can see the changing G's on the hourglass twins depending on how much sand is or isn't on them. That is not the case for Brittle Hollow because of that little thing called a black hole. The trouble is you can't really get too close to see this easily. But if you land on the black hole forge before it is raised, you'll see it in full effect. But you can also check out the G-force when you walk on the surface compared to around the Hanging City and even walking down to the black hole forge controls. Speaking of which, the controls for the black hole forge are wrong. It's not like the Nomai to make mistakes, so why would they have the down option be the one that brings the forge up and the up option the one that makes it go down? Aside from gravity being relative on this crazy planet, my best guess is that this is clever game design from the developers. If you're looking up, which you have to do to control the Nomai's orbs, then many players probably won't notice something moving beneath them, and vice versa. You can see this in full effect when you watch most playthroughs when they try and figure out the Nomai shuttle. The landing mode option does have lights that shine to show the player something has happened, but that doesn't help most people when those lights are behind you. Compare that to warping back to the gravity cannon or taking off, and there's quite a difference in immediate feedback on the shuttle. And let's stay with the gravity cannon for item number 3. The gravity cannon doesn't only shoot out the Nomai shuttle. Of course, it is ordinarily what will fire out, but whatever is sitting in the launch area will also launch into the vastness of space. It's easiest to try this with your little scout, but give it a go with your ship too. And if you're looking for a way off Brittle Hollow because your ship dropped into the black hole, then even the hatchling can blast off into space with it. And if you really like the gravity cannon look, check out IKEA's Solvenden lamp. The coolest thing about it? The Swedish translation of this means the solar wind. Big shout out to Hayu Martin on Reddit for pointing this out. Before we go to number 4, let's make a quick deal. If any of these 10 things are news to you, then drop a like on the video. And if you are new here and you learn 5 new things or more, or you're generally just awesome, give the channel a subscribe. Thanks to everyone who has already subscribed, it really means a lot. Back to the list, and a trip off of Brittle Hollow here. The Nomai might be nerds, but they still have some creative flair. Spire's piece of text about very much wanting to make a model is emblematic of this as well as hilarious. But you can also see their creativity on Ash Twin's towers. The excitement of flocks to create each tower to visually reflect its destination extends further than just the tower's architecture. The warp platform on Brittle Hollow is upside down, which itself is a clue that the receiver will be upside down when you arrive. This is probably to distinguish this from the other warp receiver that gets you back from the dreaded Whitehall station journey. But if you look up to look down, if you catch my drift, when you're waiting to warp on Ash Twin, then you'll see a painted black hole below you, above you, below you, whichever way around that is, to further demonstrate the Nomai's creativity and attention to detail. And let's stick off the planet, but still tied to Brittle Hollow for number 5. Brittle Hollow's moon, Hollow's Lantern, is one of Outer Wilds' least welcoming locations in a solar system full of unwelcoming destinations. Some might never notice that there is a landing location inside one of the volcanoes because the moon looks so uninviting. But you can also land elsewhere on Hollow's Lantern, but you might never realise it depending on when you arrive in the loop. The developers really thought of everything and considered that a moon shooting so much lava around would need to lose the lava it has. You'll already know that sand moves from Ash Twin to Ember Twin, and there is a similar movement of mass from Hollow's Lantern, which, like Ash Twin, reveals a surface if you wait long enough. There's nothing more to find once the lava level's lower, however, but it's easy to miss this brilliant detail from Mobius Digital. The meteors that Hollow's lanterns spit out are what trigger Brittle Hollow to become even more brittle and eventually break. The order in which the crust falls is highly random, however, even though the hatchling is stuck in a time loop. Like the orbital probe cannon firing in random directions, the surface integrity of Brittle Hollow's segments hitting 0% is random. While the orbital probe cannon's trajectory is designed for randomness by the Nomai's search for the eye, there is no in-game explanation for the randomness of Brittle Hollow. Possibly it's quantum related, perhaps the quantum moon disrupting Hollow Lantern's orbit, but aside from the Southern Observatory and Hanging City remaining in place, there is only one constant that we have here, that the Tower of Quantum Knowledge only falls way too late in the loop to cause no end of confusion for first-time players. If the Tower of Quantum Knowledge is causing too much pain for impatient players, there is a second way of getting to the tower. As demonstrated in many videos on YouTube and Reddit, players who are skilled or lucky or both can slingshot their way around the black hole, as you do, and reach the gravity floor by threading the needle. Here is Same Tomorrow 9933's example for Reddit. What an effort. Similarly, this Feldspar approved approach of brute force sequence breaking can also work for the Black Hole Forge. This one is a bunch more common, maybe even you did it. Forcing your ship to land upside down on the gravity floor on the top floor of the Hanging City, it's very much not the intended solution, but even this approach can still result in the classic move of forgetting you're upside down and accidentally jetpacking your way to the Whitehall station all over again. The gravity floors you find around the universe are of course a Nomai creation. The thing that surprised me about them though was they were only from Eskel's Nomai clan rather than technology brought in before they jumped to Dark Bramble. The Gravity Crystal Workshop alludes to this slightly, as the Nomai began to learn of the unique qualities of Brittle Hollow's rocks and utilise them for their own benefit. Of course, we see the crystals purple woven into these gravity floors on the planets, but you never see them in the escape pods or in the vessel. You can get gravity at the vessel, but only once the advanced warp core is added to highlight how adaptable these surviving Nomai were with the tools they had available once they arrived in the outer wild solar system. The survivors of Escape Pod 1 left some pretty gut-wrenching text when they first arrived at Brittle Hollow. The game's dialogue might be at its emotionally strongest around the old settlement. You have Plume's hard-to-read messages about his brother, Thatch leaves messages about their Aunt Mallory, and easily the saddest text in the game from a Nomai we only meet once, Kusa. Let me take a mini detour here to show how this encounter went in the playthrough on this channel with my girlfriend. It's even tougher to read when the one you love sits right next to you.
Folly, are you still here? I'm unsure how to survive in this place without you. Kusa, I'm unsure how to be me without you.
We're both crying now.
That's really sad.
But there is also a poem I haven't seen many players find from Ilex as a child, highlighting the nuances in this game. While adults in the temporary settlement are worrying about others, and making my girlfriend and I burst into tears, a child isn't as aware of the gravity of the situation, pun intentional. You can find a poem if you search hard enough that doesn't affect the ship log around here. Look out below, look out for the gravity hole, for should you slip and lose your grip, then into space you'll go. Luckily for Elix, there is a little known way of avoiding falling into the black hole. You just have to hit the subscribe button by the end of the video, and we are close to the end of the video because here is number 10. The Southern Observatory's depiction of the eye's orbit changed quite noticeably from the game's first release. I've watched too many playthroughs to be healthy, and have always liked the random spinning circle that appears when you fiddle with the Nomai's balls. I should probably phrase that better. It shows the signal from the eye is unable to be found. When I got around to Joseph Anderson's stream, and a huge recommendation for a fun playthrough here if you haven't watched, I can't believe he landed on the sun station on his first attempt. But when I watched his final playthrough, I didn't see the final spinning circle, but many. Depending on when you played the game, you would have seen something different to either of these Nomai PowerPoints. But what if you were like me and are an Outer Wilds addict and already knew this? You'll maybe feel cheated by this final point because you're so addicted And I can't tell you about Rebek's extra finger because you'll know that already. Instead, I'll give you one to, as the Oracle in the Matrix says, bake your noodle later on. Where are all the bits of Brittle Hollow that already fell through the black hole in the days, weeks and years before you woke up? It's kept me up at night ever since I thought about this, and now it's your burden too. Let everyone know in the comments if you have a theory, because I don't. And if you've made it this far, then you love Outer Worlds as much as me, and that's all this channel is for. I'd love to make many more videos for as many people as possible. Subscribing, leaving a comment or a like makes it way more likely for the algorithm to show this video and others to other Outer Wilds lovers too. Thanks to everyone for all the support so far, it's genuinely appreciated. Until next time, be curious on your journey.